Okay, hey, we're live in a little different positions for technical reasons. Welcome to the Homebuyer Seminar. I'm Bill Gross. I'm usually at the top corner there, but instead, up in the corner is
Patricia
Shannon.
Castillo. Oh, that's right.
Go for it, Patricia.
Oh, hi everybody. Patricia Castillo. Happy to be here with you guys.
how you guys doing? And
Shannon, the lender. Go Dodgers. They had a great game yesterday.
gosh, nothing but great games for them.
Mm-hmm. That's why they're number one.
Yep.
Well, if you don't lose a game, you're going to be number one.
Yep.
They're continuing from last year.
Back to back.
Well, yeah, they were high last year, but this is a whole nother level. I think they're 7-0 right now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Apparently, you are, man. You jumped on the bandwagon. You jumped on the
Well, I went to
bus.
the game yesterday, so that's why.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, well, so you're at the game. Anybody there buying a house or any news on buying houses at the Dodger Stadium?
I know, actually. And while I was there, I got a few calls, but
I know you wrote it off as a business expense, so.
yeah, because I was technically on the phone with someone while I was there, so
No, right, whatever.
that's hilarious. But
So I'm seeing some little bit of change from last week. I think I know Shannon's going to go into the rates and everything. So just any little change in the rates definitely starts to boost, the activity. So I was just telling Shannon, I adjusted the price on one of my listings. I opened escrow on that yesterday. And then I have an offer in today on another listing that I have. And we'll probably open escrow on that one tomorrow. So just seems like we're full blown into spring, and my phone's ringing more, and I'm seeing more buyers that are coming out that are looking to get pre-qualified and wanting to see property as well. So it's exciting.
I have a listing I got signed on Thursday or Friday. I put in the MLS. No pictures of the inside. Don't even have access to the inside. I have an offer. I can't really see the price yet because we're not closed, but we're accepting the offer. We're accepting the offer. It's a builder, and it's a hot area. And now I will say it's at the lower end of the price of a hot market, right? The lower end of, in this case, Tarzana. And, Tarzana has houses up to $2-3 million and has houses in the 700-800 range.
Right.
And this is one of those that the plan, I think, is to knock it down and build one of the $2 million houses. And so red hot and not even a week old, I think will be in escrow tomorrow, if I'm guessing correctly. And then, Patricia, you and I have some deals. The sellers just backed up, signed the papers to get those in escrow. And we got court confirmation on another one. So things are moving right now. Things are moving.
Absolutely. That's what I'm seeing on my end too. And Shannon, you're working on a couple of refis, right? And
I got a few refis going. I got a few also on a lot of mobile home people starting to come in. And then I did get a couple of buyers that are interested in that new CalHFA All Access program. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
No, talk about it.
Yeah, so CalHFA usually has that. I know you guys probably heard of the Dream for All program. Mm-hmm. They have the normal, what's called My Home program, which allows you the 3.5% down payment assistance for FHA loans. But now the All Access program gives you another 2.5% that you can use either for the closing costs or you can use for an extra down payment. So now essentially you could almost be literally 0% down on a property. So minimum 660 FICO score. Better if you have a 700, you can get more as far as debt to income ratio goes. But 660 FICO score, 2-year job history. You have to be a first-time home buyer, but yeah, they'll give you the 3% down and they'll give you another 2.5% for your closing costs on top of that. Now, it's not a grant. It is down payment assistance. It's like a 1 or 2% interest rate on it. But this is a really good program that they literally just came out with it a few weeks ago.
Now, do they have to, let's say the buyer is utilizing this program, do they have to send in at least some form of earnest money deposit, or is that part of the 3% that they're borrowing?
Good question. I mean, the buyer does have to put in a deposit, but if it works out to where the 2.5% covers all the closing costs, they could get back that deposit, but no more than that. They can't make any money off the transaction, right? They can probably get refunded back the down payment. I mean, the EMD.
Right.
But yeah, the CalHFA will give all the money at the close of escrow. They're not going to give any money for EMD.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So then the agent would have to negotiate at least maybe a 1% deposit just to open escrow if the client is kind of short on cash.
Yeah. I mean, if they have absolutely zero, I encourage you, like I always say, even with these down payment assistance programs, have some money set aside. But if you don't, for whatever reason, have the money for the EMD, yeah, that's something you have to negotiate. But yeah, they can get it back. And I have seen that before. I've done a transaction where they got back their EMD.
What about money for inspections and appraisal?
Good question. So those two things also they will not cover. I mean, essentially they cover any closing costs that are in escrow, right? Because at the end of it, they'll look at the settlement statement, here are the closing costs, and that's what it'll be put down towards. Now, if the inspector maybe is willing to get paid in escrow, I can see that as a possibility. But those are the two things, and that's a good thing you point out is, and I always tell my buyers this: when you're in escrow, the two people that need to get paid outside of escrow is the appraiser and the home inspector, because typically these are the two people that can make or break a deal, right? So if you are in escrow on a home, the property inspection, came out, not as you expected, it's too much for you, you want to back out. Well, he has to get paid for the report that he did.
Right.
Similarly to the appraisal, if you get an appraisal done on the property and it came out less than what you offered, and for some reason the deal fell through because of the appraiser, well, he still has to get paid. Sure. So essentially, yes, everything else, with the exception of the appraiser and the inspector, can get paid through escrow, and CalHFA can cover that. So yeah. But those are great questions to ask. But yeah, this is, again, down payment shouldn't be an objection when it comes to buying a home, even though I do suggest, hey, if you have down payment, this could be a good way to utilize, CalHFA's funds and save that for, having some reserves, repairs or upgrades, whatever the case, whatever you want. So that's a good point on that. So that's good. And then also too, I don't know if you guys heard the news. I did post something for all first-time homebuyers out there. The biggest news that came out was how late payments are on the rise when it comes to student loans and auto loans. The late payments are on the rise. I know NelNet, which is one of the biggest student loan providers, they service, I think, 13 million accounts. They reported that 1 out of every 5 accounts are delinquent or have a late. Yeah, so for sure.
Yeah, the credit card debt is higher in certain areas too. Like Santa Clarita was one of the areas that they pointed out for having higher credit card debt.
Which is surprising, Santa Clarita.
Yeah, it's I don't know how they come up with the metrics, right? There's some platform they're using to track that, but that's just another reminder for anybody that's looking to buy a home. Your credit is definitely what is going to weigh on the interest rate, and also whether you get pre-approved or not. And overextending your credit is also something that can bring your FICO down. So if you have a couple of credit cards, it's okay to use them, and as long as they're revolving, right? You're charging and then paying and charging and paying, and not overextending the balances. So you don't want to max out your credit cards and then go and open another credit card or increase the limit. You want to keep what are the balances that they're supposed to keep on their credit cards? Like under, what is it, 40% of
Like 30.
limit, or 30?
30, I would say
Zero.
even 20.
Supposed to be
Yeah, I mean,
under
yeah,
the
zero would be the ideal.
Zero
Dave
would be
Ramsey-
ideal, but everybody
Well-
has credit card debt.
Uh,
A lot of buyers
no.
that, well, maybe
No.
not you, but you're not looking to buy a house.
You never know. I keep looking to buy a home in Florida. It's just the problem for me is if I buy a house in Florida, I have to pay for a divorce. So I'm not really ready to do that yet.
See? But
Yeah.
in actuality, people that I've been talking to lately,
First time
have
buyers.
some
Yeah.
form of credit card debt
Yeah.
and a car loan.
Yeah.
So as long as the credit balances are kept to a minimum, try to pay those off if you can. And talk to us about getting a blueprint going. We'll definitely give you that guidance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that if I could, too often we say, everybody has and everybody has. And I think the reality is there are people who don't. I know when we bought our first house, 36 years ago, we didn't have any debt. We used credit cards to pay them off every month and save money. And, would you rather have a more down payment and some credit debt? I would say no. If you could get by without using a used car instead of a new car with a car payment, if the house is important to you, that's what you need to do to get in the game. Get in the game. Like, do what you have to do. My wife, when we first started, we had one car. Actually, we had one car, and then after 2 years, I had a friend who had a beat up old car we paid for cash. It was just, and I remember she was so mad at me whenever she drove it, but that's what we could afford until we made more money and bought a nicer car. And so I think that I'm not here to put down anybody who has student loan and car loans and credit card debt, but I do want to say aspirationally, you can set standards that say you're not going to carry credit card debt, and you can get in with very low down payment. And if you don't have any debt, you're going to have a great credit score. And if you don't have debt and car payments, you're going to have better ratios if the only expense is your house. So I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong. And I'm not here to judge anybody who has credit card debt or student loans or car payments. I'm just saying, don't think you have to, or it's normal, or don't buy the everybody has a car loan comment. That's not true. There are a lot of people who don't have car loans, and you can get by without one. And if you want to buy a house, maybe this is the time to get by with an older car, or one car instead of two, or Uber instead of buy a second car, or whatever it is. And so I'm not here to be argumentative or judgmental. I'm just saying, but just don't accept that as your default.
That's a great point.
Because the news is so slanted towards carrying credit, shop your credit card debt, shop your car loan. It's like, well, hold on. You don't have to have a car loan. You don't have to shop credit card debt. You can pay it all off. So I just think that sometimes we're being brainwashed to accept standards that aren't necessarily best for us in the long run.
And one thing I do want to say too, sorry guys, there's a little delay on my end, but one thing I do want to say with people that pay credit cards, don't pay it on the first. You got to pay it a day before the statement date in order for it not to show up on your credit report. A lot of people, they do it on the first when your statement date's on the 24th. So whatever you owe on the 24th is what's going to be reported on your FICO score. So print out a statement, when's the statement date, and pay it the day before that. And that way it does show as a zero balance every month.
Right. Because I pay my credit card in full, but it shows every month with the closing statement. So I might charge $2,000 or $3,000, and so the statement closes, and I get a statement that says owed $2,000, and I pay it and don't have interest on it. But what Shannon's saying is before the statement closes, make that payment. And so if you're in a home buying scenario, making that extra effort can get your statement balance to be zero when it comes out. And then that's what gets reported to the credit score company. And definitely that's the better way to go if you can make that work for sure. If you're in a home buying era, particularly if you have limited credit history, then that's what you need to do with what you have.
Absolutely. It can be done.
It can be done. It can be done. I'm here to tell you it can be. I also think sometimes, I'll say personally, I got sucked into every credit card has like a little discount. So you have a 5% off Target on this one, and 5% off Amazon that one, and then Walmart. And gas companies, they'll give you like 5% off, like, a couple pennies a gallon. But what happened was I had so many different credit card bills coming, and it was like I'd have a $40 Union 76 card, but I missed the payment because they didn't mail. They all set up automatic, electronic only. Then it goes by spam. I don't make a payment. So I'm paying like $25 late fee plus a 29% interest charge on a $40,
Yep.
gas, tank of gas. And I just said, you know what? I'm done with that. I have one credit card for personal, one for business. I give my wife a backup for her personal. So if she's stuck somewhere and there's something wrong with the personal lines, you got a second credit card. You don't have to worry about it. And and that means we miss in some discounts, but what I don't have is late payments. I think that's important too. So whatever you got to do, and that's me, that's not everybody. I'm just saying, just because these companies want you to shop around and get 15 credit cards, you don't have to do that. You need to do what's right for you and get a plan and talk to Shannon about what's right for you. Don't decide when you watch on TV what their commercial is best for you. Like the credit reports. I have a podcast, I talk about this. The credit reports, they just try to suck you into buying their report, which isn't the same one we use for mortgages. And more than that, they're just going to sell you more credit. Oh, we have a better credit card at a lower rate. Another one at a lower rate. Well, next thing you know, you've got like 5 credit cards with these rates and advances. How about just spend less money and not worry about the credit card so much? And so, again, make sure you work with your lender. And Shannon's the one that we work with by preference. But you work with your lender. Make sure you have the plan for you that works for you. Don't buy the plan that's being mass marketed.
Man, that's a great point. Is don't have that mindset of you need to be in debt, or like that's totally true. Like, you can live debt free. There is a way.
Yeah, you can be done. I mean, I think we drive 2 cars are paid for. We pay our credit cards monthly. It can be done. I mean, it's and we did it. We got this discipline a long time ago when we started. It's how we started buying our first house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's a great message to end off with.
Cool. Well, there you go. There's a hit. Okay, so if that's the case, Patricia, what do you got going on? Anybody can see you at an open house somewhere, or new listings or closings? And if they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
My cell number, 323-365-9909.
Fantastic. No open houses coming up this weekend?
No open houses this weekend. Taking a listing this week that we're going to talk about, and then I'll be putting that on the market soon to come in Highland Park.
Very nice. Highland Park, very nice. Mm-hmm. Shannon, the lender, someone wants to get a hold of you. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, my phone number is 661-317-8484, or Fun with Shannon on Instagram.
Or in the Wright Field Pavilion at Dodger Stadium during game days. All right. And I'm Bill Gross, at Bill Gross Probate on social media. Thanks so much for coming on this call. If you have questions, please put them in there, or comments, or reach out to us individually. Like this, subscribe. We'd love to see your comments. As always, make today your best day ever. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.